My name is Paul Spitzeri. I'm Museum Director of the Workman and Temple Family Homestead Museum. The Homestead Museum is a 6-acre site owned and funded by the City of Industry. We have two houses, the Workman House in La Casa Nueva and El Campo Santo Cemetery. Well, when people think of a City of Industry, they're thinking of warehouses and manufacturing, car dealers, shopping, that sort of thing. But we feel like we're an oasis here in the city, a way to provide people some history and some beauty and get away from life. So it's a nice little spot in this very industrial area. Well, what is now the City of Industry in the 1840s was part of what one person called the Siberia of Mexico. So you think about how far back that was, how remote this area was. And the Workman family came here from New Mexico and they settled on the Rancho La Puente and became cattle ranchers. So there was an industry, it was just very different than what we have today. Well, our time period is 1830 to 1930 here at the museum. And so one of the members of the Temple family, for example, came here just before 1830 and opened the first store. So really one of the first entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. And other members of the family had ranching, real estate, oil, railroads, banking, all kinds of activities. And when it comes to the history of the Workman and Temple family, we focus a lot on several things. One would be the multi-ethnicity of it. So William Workman was from England. His wife, Nicolasa Urioste, was from New Mexico. Their daughter, Margarita Workman, married a man named Temple. So there's Temple Street in Los Angeles, for example, Temple City. And their son, Walter, built this house, and he filled it with references to their British, American, and Latino history. So one of the things we're hoping visitors take away is the idea that the diversity of the history reflects what's happening in our communities now. When visitors come to the homestead, people can see change over time by walking through the houses. We've had self-guided tours or guided tours and learn more about how all of these different elements of history changed over the years. We're also known for our landscaping. So we have a beautiful walkway, for example, down to our cemetery that people can enjoy. There's a fish pond. And around the historic houses, we try to maintain an environment so that they can both enjoy and learn from the landscaping. One of the things that excites me about the future of the museum is the idea that technology is a huge part of our development, but we look at this as an opportunity to tie back to the history that goes back to the 1830s to the 1930s. And we look also at the idea that we learn history typically two-dimensionally through like a textbook, but we have a three-dimensional experience. You can come and almost immerse yourself in what the history of this area was. Well, for the City of Industry to make the commitment that they did to invest and support the museum is a reflection, I think, of their commitment to the idea that history does matter and that the city's 70 years old, but you can go back to the 1840s when we start our interpretation, see how the trends developed, how the innovation moved forward, and build that history so that it relates to people today.